Once, these names were everywhere in America. Kids knew their mascots by heart, families gathered there on weekends. Today, you can barely find a single photo of most of them online. This is the story of America's forgotten fast food giants. Burger Chef. Burger Chef was founded in Indianapolis in 1954 as a direct rival to McDonald's, and within 2 decades had grown to more than 1,200 locations, second only to McDonald's in the entire United States. But what truly sets Burger Chef apart from every other fast food chain isn't the number of locations, it's the ideas they pioneered that competitors would later steal, rebrand, and claim as their own. The chain's most significant contribution to the industry was the invention of the kids' meal in 1973. The fun meal, as the chain called it, included a small burger, a drink, fries, a dessert, and a small toy, all coming in a colorful box decorated with riddles and cartoon strips. The box featured characters like a magician named Burgerini and a vampire named Count Fangburger, a full cartoon universe that predated Ronald McDonald's McDonaldland characters by years. When McDonald's came out with the Happy Meal in 1979, Burger Chef sued for appropriating the idea. They lost the lawsuit, despite being the first to introduce a children's meal with a packaged toy. Burger King also tried to copy the concept with a fun school meal, but Burger Chef took legal action again, and this time, Burger King settled out of court before the case even reached a judge. The chain secured what many consider the licensing deal of the decade when it partnered with Star Wars in 1977 and 1978, offering collectible posters and themed fun meals featuring characters from the film. These Star Wars items are now among the most sought-after fast food collectibles in existence. Financial difficulties eventually led to Burger Chef's acquisition by Hardee's in 1982 for $44 million. Many locations were converted to Hardee's restaurants, and the final Burger Chef in Cookeville, Tennessee, closed its doors in 1996 when its franchise agreement expired. The brand was gone, but its DNA lives on. Every time a child reaches into a Happy Meal box, they're holding an idea that Burger Chef invented and McDonald's took.
Sambo's. Sambo's was an American restaurant chain started in 1957 by Sam Battistone Sr. and Newell Bonnet in Santa Barbara, California. Though the name was taken from portions of the names of its 2 founders, the chain also became associated with the story of Little Black Sambo, a children's book first published in 1899. The founders didn't just tolerate that association, they leaned into it completely, decorating every restaurant wall with murals from the book. During its most successful years in the mid to late 1970s, Sambo's played up its connection to the controversial children's book. The restaurant's original mascot was a dark-skinned South Indian boy like the book's main character. Locations were decorated in murals inspired by the tale, and menu items were named after other figures in the story. By 1976, the chain was doing $380 million in annual sales, the equivalent of over $1.6 billion in today's dollars. At its peak, Sambo's had 1,117 locations in 47 states. It was, for a brief moment, the largest full-service restaurant chain in America. But as the chain expanded eastward into more diverse urban markets, the backlash was swift and unforgiving. Civil rights organizations filed lawsuits. Town councils in Virginia, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts refused to grant permits. Protest movements spread from coast to coast. By 1981, some of the chain's restaurants in the South and the Northeast attempted to change their name, but the business went bankrupt by the end of the year, closing hundreds of stores and laying off thousands of employees. The company tried renaming locations Jolly Tiger and No Place Like Sam's, but the damage was irreversible. By 1982, all except the original Sambo's at 216 West Cabrillo Boulevard in Santa Barbara, California, had closed their doors. That last location quietly changed its name in 2020, following the protests sparked by the murder of George Floyd, ending a 63-year story that began with a name choice nobody had the courage to fix for decades.
If you don't want this channel to end up in the graveyard too, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Now, let's get back to the video. Gino's Hamburgers. Gino's Hamburgers was a fast food restaurant chain founded in Baltimore, Maryland by Baltimore Colts defensive end Gino Marchetti and running back Alan Amesh, along with their close friends Joe Campanella and Louis Fisher,
in 1957. The idea was simple. Two of the most beloved players in Baltimore football history, backed by the goodwill of an entire city, opening a burger stand. It shouldn't have worked this well. It worked extraordinarily well. Burgers initially cost 10 cents and shakes 20 cents. Marchetti focused on Gino's after retiring from the NFL in 1964, and the chain's specialties included the Gino Giant, a predecessor of McDonald's Big Mac, and a meal for $5, a bundled family meal priced at $1.75. The Gino Giant, in particular, is a piece of forgotten fast food history. A double patty burger with special sauce and a sesame seed bun that predated the Big Mac by years. The company held the franchise for Kentucky Fried Chicken in the mid-Atlantic states, meaning Gino's locations sold both burgers and KFC chicken under one roof, a concept so natural that it seems obvious in hindsight, yet nobody else was doing it at scale. The chain expanded through Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and beyond, driven by an identity that fused sports pride, community nostalgia, and genuinely good food. At the time of its sale to Marriott International in 1982, Gino's owned 313 restaurants. Marriott converted 180 of them to Roy Rogers stores. The rest were closed or sold off, most to Kentucky Fried Chicken. The name disappeared overnight. A chain that had been the heartbeat of the Mid-Atlantic for 25 years was converted into something blander, something that belonged to nobody. Gino Marchetti lived to see a brief revival attempt in 2010, but the magic never fully returned. He passed away in 2019 at age 93.
Red Barn. The Red Barn was a fast food restaurant chain founded in Springfield, Ohio. From day one, it stood apart from every competitor through one simple, unforgettable decision. Every single restaurant was built to look exactly like a Red Barn. Real gambrel rooflines, red exteriors, wide glass fronts. You could spot a Red Barn from a quarter mile down the highway. In an era when fast food was just beginning to define American roadside culture, that architectural identity was revolutionary. Red Barn was extremely aggressive with menu development. Their Big Barney double-decker burger actually preceded McDonald's Big Mac by a couple of years, and they were the first chain of their kind to have self-service salad bars, an innovation so ahead of its time that it took the rest of the industry years to catch up. The chain featured 3 mascots in its commercials: Hamburger Hungry, a humanoid with a hamburger for a head; Chicken Hungry, a walking chicken leg; and Big Fish Hungry, a blue fish. Its catchy jingle, "When the Hungries hit the Red Barn," became lodged in the brains of an entire generation of American kids. At its peak, Red Barn had 300 to 400 restaurants in 19 states, as well as outlets in southern Ontario, elsewhere in Canada, and in Australia. Then, the corporate machinery ground it to dust. In 1978, the new owners ceased advertising for the chain and simply allowed the franchise leases to expire. The last one expired around 1988, leading to the company's permanent closure of all restaurants. Nobody killed Red Barn in a dramatic collapse. They just stopped caring and let it fade away. Some barn-shaped buildings still stand across America today, now subways or insurance offices, the architectural ghost of something people genuinely loved. Lum's. Lum's was an American family restaurant chain based in Florida, founded in 1956 in Miami Beach by Stuart and Clifford Pearlman when they purchased a hot dog stand for $10,000. Under the brothers, Lum's began aggressively expanding and franchising, with the signature item being hot dogs steamed in beer. That detail, beer-steamed hot dogs, sounds like a gimmick, but it built a loyal following across the American Southeast and beyond. What makes Lum's story genuinely extraordinary isn't the hot dogs. In 1969, Lum's Inc. purchased Caesar's Palace for $60 million. At that time, Caesar's was a 500-room hotel casino on the Las Vegas Strip, a hot dog chain owning one of the most iconic casinos in American history. That sentence alone deserves its own documentary. The food operations of Lum's were sold in 1971 to John Y. Brown, the man who had taken Colonel Sanders' Kentucky Fried Chicken concept and helped and build it into a global phenomenon. Brown saw Lums as his next big project. He searched the country for the perfect hamburger and found it in Miami, where a cantankerous local chef named Ali Gleichenhaus had built a cult following. Brown paid $1 million for the recipe and promised to make Ali more famous than Colonel Sanders. The resulting Ali burger, seasoned with 23 secret herbs and spices, became a Lums staple. In 1978, a Swiss holding company purchased the 273-restaurant chain from Brown. The Swiss parent company overextended itself and was forced to file for bankruptcy in 1982. The empire collapsed. The last Lums in America, located in Bellevue, Nebraska, closed in June 2017. A chain that had once owned Caesar's Palace ended its days as a single location in the Midwest, quietly steaming its final hot dogs. Pup N Taco. Pup N Taco was a privately owned chain of fast food restaurants in Southern California with its headquarters in Long Beach. The business was begun by Russell Wendell in 1956 as a drive-in restaurant that served tacos, hot dogs, and pastrami sandwiches. The name said everything: half hot dog stand, half taco joint, entirely Californian. In an era when fast food meant burgers and fries, Pup N Taco was offering something genuinely different, and Southern California couldn't get enough of it. The menu consisted of tacos, tostadas, pastrami sandwiches, burgers, several varieties of hot dogs, the pup in Pup N Taco, and French fries. Beverages included RC Cola, root beer, and a variety of flavored slushes. The architecture matched the personality: orange-roofed A-frame buildings with playful signage designed to be seen from a moving car on a California boulevard. By the early 1980s, the chain had nearly 100 locations, a devoted fan base, and no serious ambition to go national. By the early 1980s, Pup N Taco faced mounting financial pressure from Taco Bell, which had grown to over 1,800 locations, while Pup N Taco operated around 100 stores primarily in Southern California. These challenges culminated in the chain's sale to Taco Bell in November 1984 for approximately $50 million, an amount focused largely on acquiring prime real estate rather than the ongoing operations. Taco Bell didn't want the recipe. They didn't want the name. They wanted the buildings. The orange-roofed locations on busy California corners that would cost a fortune to build from scratch. 99 stores in California were bought by Taco Bell in 1984 for their prime locations. 3 operations in Albuquerque, New Mexico were not included in the deal, and 2 existed as Pup N Taco until closing in 2013. Pup N Taco wasn't defeated in the market. It was erased by a checkbook. Every time you pull into a Taco Bell in Southern California, there's a good chance you're parking where someone once ate a chili dog and a tostada for less than $1. Wetsons. Wetsons was an American fast food hamburger chain that existed from 1959 to 1975. The story begins with 2 brothers from Levittown, Long Island, Herb and Errol Wetson, who took a road trip to California, walked into a McDonald's for the first time, and came home determined to build the same thing for New York. Wetsons was known for its signature burger, the Big W, 15-cent burgers, and the slogan, "Look for the orange circles." They didn't try to hide their inspiration. They just executed it better for the New York market. Hand-peeled potatoes fried in lard, fresh ground high-quality beef, and portion sizes that fit the appetite of a city that had never really done drive-in fast food before. By 1972, the chain had reached a peak of 72 locations across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The orange circles were as much a part of the New York streetscape as yellow cabs and pizza slices. When McDonald's and Burger King moved into their territory, Wetsons began to struggle. In 1975, shortly after the franchise declared bankruptcy, it was announced that the 28 surviving locations would be merged with Nathan's. The orange circles went dark. Wetsons was gone, remembered only by New Yorkers of a certain age who will still tell you without hesitation that the fries were better than McDonald's ever managed. They all closed their doors one day. Nobody said goodbye. Nobody said thank you. One morning, the signs came down, and something else took their place. America moved on, but those flavors, those moments, they never came back.